In the previous podcast, in fact, we mentioned the problem of abstract intelligence, and we used many consideration about shapes. One reference was also about music, especially for the score. But now I would like to speak about music and maybe genius. Maybe it's not so clear that we have an agreement on who is a genius in music, but we are going to consider some of them, and I think we have an agreement on that. So the idea was the following. They asked 4 famous orchestra, in fact from US, to make the ranking of composers and to see if they accept the same thing. So the composers were Bach, Beethoven, Berlioz, Brahms, Chopin, Debussy, César Franck, Grieg, Haydn, Mendelssohn, Mozart, Schubert, Schumann, Stravinsky, Tchaikovsky, but also Verdi and Wagner. So it's quite impressive as a result that the ranking of Beethoven was 1 for all the orchestras. So it's clear. If we want to see now the second composer, maybe it will be possible to choose, in fact, Brahms. His ranking was 2, 3, 5, 2. So a general ranking 2, I think, is consistent. It's important to see this and to imagine another point, that you remember that in music, we all the time say about German composer, the 3B, Bach, Beethoven, Brahms. It's nice to see that, with a small exception, with Wagner and maybe also Mozart. But at the end of the process, we can see that the first 5 composers who are considered as genius are all either from Germany, okay, Österreich for Mozart, but I mean, is in the same universe, a Germanic universe. It's interesting because it's not so obvious, but we can see that the first rank is Beethoven, the second Brahms, Mozart for the third. Just after Mozart, we have Wagner, and at the end, for the dream team, Bach. I would like to consider only them. So I think it's obvious that Mozart is considered as a genius, maybe not so obvious for Wagner, especially for persons who are not so specialized in music. But remember that Wagner was, in fact, if you consider this dream team, is the only composer who has written the text of the opera, libretto, but also, of course, the chorus. So it's an important detail. Of course, it's not so important for Bach, because he has to sign that he will not create anything which is like an opera. But for the others, it's possible. Of course, Beethoven has only 1 opera, so the remarks are quite different. So in fact, we can consider Mozart and Wagner as special cases in this strange contest. But my idea is the following, is if 4 famous orchestras accept this ranking, it's not so strange. And there is not just a relation, but also a correlation about the results. So when we study the scores of Bach, Beethoven, also Brahms, we can see there is a big complexity, even in a mathematical way to transform these ideas. It's obvious that there is a high J loading in reality. Maybe with Mozart is not so obvious because his variety is very big. Maybe for Wagner is too long for non-specialists. But at the end, we can see that all these composers have something which is common. They played not only one instrument, several. All of them, of course, knew very well the concept of orchestra. So maybe we are a little bit cheating with Bach because he is older and the orchestra was different. But I mean the composition, it's not just the melodic lines, it's also the problem of harmony. So especially if we consider the symphonies, we can see that the level of the symphonies of Beethoven is very impressive. And by the way, we can see also that there is a progression from the first to the last one, a very big, complex, maybe an exception with the fifth, but especially the last one has beautiful structure, beautiful not only in music, but also in maths, in combinatorics, in shapes. So there is an explanation, maybe it's obvious for some of you, but I mean, we have to consider the following thing, an idea. Beethoven was a composer, so he created sounds without the capacity of hearing them. So, of course, it's more abstract. Maybe you can say that he used some methods to listen to his composition, but I mean that if we consider the result of the four orchestras, that he has the first ranking as a genius, maybe it's correlated to the fact that he does not belong to the normal musical world. Is abstract music, because in fact his models are really different, because he created them not from sound but from codes. So maybe when we are listening to Beethoven, we hear what? His codes, not his notes. And it means in reality that he gave us the key, the musical key, to listen to his mind, which was made by silence. So for me, the genius of Beethoven is in fact the code and the key of the broken silence in music.